Hey everyone, welcome to Yoga TX. I'm Jacq and I have a really fun flow for us today. It's kind of a full body dealio. It's going to eventually take us to crow pose, and do not let that scare you. If that sounds scary, stay with me. I promise I've got a lot of variations and a lot of things to help you just kind of get familiar with where to put the body in the pose, which is actually the first step. So thank you for being here. Grab a block or two if you have yoga blocks at home. If you don't have yoga blocks, grab a couple sturdy books because like I said, I've got a cool variation to show you. All right, so find a comfortable seat to start. Let's take palms to rest down on the thighs for an intention to kind of ground down and get still before we move. If you would like to close your eyes, do that. Otherwise, just let your eyes rest in one place other than the screen. So pick something in your view to let the eyes rest on and let your breath settle. Let's have our collective intention today be to drop our expectations. So for the pose, for our body, even for our mind, let's drop our expectations so we can arrive to what's truly happening in the present moment. Please breathe in and out through your nose. Take 3 or 4 more rounds of breathing, unhurried, unrushed. And then let your eyes open if you close them, and let's bring the soles of the feet together. If you have any lower back tension, you could sit on a blanket or something here, that'll help. So soles of the feet come together, take your hands to the front of your shins, sit up nice and tall. Let's take a full breath in, even kind of lift through the back of your skull. And then breathe out, tip forward, keep your spine long. So notice if you keep your spine long, you probably won't be able to go very far. And then when you can't go any further from your mid back and upper back, let your head round forward, let your head drop rather. You can round from the mid back, upper back, walk the hands forward a bit, and then check in with your breathing. See if you can let your inhale fill not just the belly, but also the sides of your waist and even your lower back. So take one more breath, with your focus being to breathe in 360 degrees. And then inhale, lift your head, lift your heart, come up with a flat back. You can walk your hands in, and then bring your hands outside the knees. Lift the knees and lift the feet off the mat. So we find a variation of bow pose. See if you can bring just your inner feet together. So notice not the soles of the feet, but the inner feet. You can keep the hands on the outer knees or behind the thighs, and then lift your chest a little bit. So imagine you had a string from your sternum up to the sky. Let the low belly hug in toward the spine, and with all this effort going on, you've got to breathe. So find that wave of your breath moving in and out. If you're cool here, let your legs go. Stretch your arms forward in front of you. Probably a little different today. I'm going to flip so you can see. Stay just as you are. Arms will come forward in front of you, and then flex your hands, your palms face forward. If you're comfortable here, take an in-breath, sit up tall, sternum lifts, and then as you breathe out, press your arms forward, round your spine, and imagine your tailbone could lift off the mat, so you crunch up. And then inhale, lift the sternum, sit up tall. Exhale, crunch up, bringing your knees close to your shoulders. Inhale, lift up. Let's go twice more. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Bring your hands down to the ground, feet down to the ground. Lift your heart up. Take a big breath. For altar pose, let your head fall back. And then exhale. Rock forward a bit so you can step right into a squat. Toes are out, heels are in. Sit your chest up nice and broad. Feel your collarbones move east and west. Take a big breath in and a big breath out. One more time, breathe in. And then as you breathe out, touch the ground, point your toes forward, take a standing forward bend. So lift your butt, drop your head. Let's widen the feet a little bit to give us some more stability. Take opposite hands to opposite elbows, find a little sway. Maybe you need a big exhale breath here. Let your body kind of unfold. And then release your hands. Heel toe your feet a little closer together. So feet are about underneath your hips. Take your palms to your shins. Lengthen your spine forward. Halfway lift. Inhale. And then exhale, forward fold. Bow again. Step your right foot long to the back of your mat. Drop your right knee down to the ground. Lift your chest. Untuck your back toes and then lift your arms. Lift your chest. Lift your arms and your chest. You can lift your gaze a little bit too. Take a big breath. Remember, belly, sides of the waist, and back. So you really breathe broad across the trunk of the body. And then take your left forearm to your left thigh. Pick up your right foot off the mat. This is a listen closely moment. And then point your right toes to the left side of your mat. So your torso will turn too. Open your arms wide. It's kind of like a warrior two, but you've got your back knee on the ground. Let's flip the front palm and reverse. Keep tracking your inner left knee forward, your left fingertips up and back. And then cartwheel your hands down to frame your front foot. Lengthen your right shin behind you again. Lift your left arm, find a twist. Right hand on the mat, press the finger pads into the mat so you can really lift up through the left arm. Stay just as you are, or option to lift your right knee off the mat. Maybe your gaze looks up toward your top arm. Take your left arm over your left ear. Touch your left hand down to the ground. Step forward, right foot next to left. Hands to shins, halfway lift. Think that you're telescoping your spine forward. And then breathe out, take a bow. This time, bend your knees, dangle your arms, and slowly roll all the way up to stand. Letting your head stack last. Once you inhale, send your arms wide and up. Take a high prayer. Exhale, prayer to your heart. Drop your arms by your sides, mountain pose. Feel your feet on the mat, and then everything grows tall from that spot. So feet rooting down, back of head lifting up. Inhale, take your arms up. You can look up, and then take your prayer all the way through center, forward fold. You can soften the knees a bit. Let the head bow completely. Step your left foot long to the back of your mat. Lower your left knee. Lift your chest first. So you look forward with your eyes and your heart, and then untuck your back toes. Send your arms forward and up for low lunge. Let the shoulders relax. So even though the arms are reaching up, keep the shoulders spacious from the ears. Breathe in and breathe out. Take your right forearm to rest on your right thigh, so you can kind of lean into it as you pick up your left foot. Turn your left toes toward the long side of your mat. Open up for our, we'll call it a knee down warrior two. Arms reach, shoulders relax. Tailbone drops right down underneath you. Flip your front palm and reverse your warrior. And then feel the opposition between your right fingertips reaching up and back and your right knee reaching forward. Take your hands down to frame your front foot. Lengthen your left shin behind you so you can open your right arm, take a twist. You can look up at your right fingertips and then notice if the shoulders start creeping up. Let the shoulder blades slide down the back. Stay like this, or tuck your back toes, lift your left knee, elevating your twist just a little bit. Take one more big breath in. As you breathe out, bring your right hand back down to the top of your mat. Step forward, right away, halfway lift, palms to shins. Exhale, take a bow. Heel toe your feet wider than your hips. Turn your toes out, your heels in. We're sitting back into our squat. Let your elbows come inside the inner knees if you can, and then push Widening the knees and letting the chest widen also. So imagine your collarbones could move east and west, and then lift the pelvic floor, lift the lower belly, lift the back of the skull. Take one more inhale and a smooth and complete exhale. Sit down on your butt. You can take your hands behind you to help you find your way there, and then come all the way onto your back, stretch out nice and long. So full body stretch, breathe in. Point your toes, lengthen your arms, and then draw your knees into your chest as you breathe out. So I already kind of snuck a crow prep pose in. Remember when we were seated and we did those little crunches? We're gonna do something similar here. Take a happy baby to start. So hands can come anywhere on the outer feet, shins, or thighs, letting the knees come close to the armpits. And then bring your inner feet together. You might remember now, we did this seated. This time you'll stretch your arms straight up to the sky, flex your hands. So imagine you were doing crow pose on the ceiling, okay? Take a big inhale breath, and then as you breathe out, lift your head, your shoulders off the mat. Let the low belly hug in. Hands keep pressing straight up. Exhale, release shoulders and head. Let's do that one more time. Breathe in, breathe out, crunch up. You can draw chin in toward your throat. Come on back down. We're gonna add one more layer onto it. This time as you crunch up, see if you can lift your tailbone too. So breathe in, stay on the ground. Breathe out, lift head, neck, shoulders, tailbone curls up. This is crow pose. And then exhale, come on back down. Twice more, breathe in and stay. Breathe out, crunch. Breathe in. Breathe out. One more, breathe in. Breathe out. Come down, full body stretch. So we're just kind of getting our body used to the position that we're going to try, actually adding the balance into it. Draw your knees back into your chest and rock your way up to a squat again. So toes out, heels in. Breathe in. Breathe out. Bring your hands to the ground and walk your feet a little closer together. If your inner feet can touch, great. If they can't touch, also great. Bend your knees, come back into a squat. Your heels can lift, that's no problem. All right, check it out. So the first thing we'll try here is to get deep into our squat. So even lift your hands up off the mat if you can balance and fold your chest close to your inner thighs. So really getting as cozy with yourself as you possibly can. From here, lift your heels, lift your butt a little bit, and then put your hands on the ground. Hands are shoulder width distance. And then look forward a little bit. As you widen your knees, lift your heels more, look forward, lean forward, and then maybe just pick up one foot, heel toward your butt, and then try that on the other side. So come on out of it. You can take a pause for a moment, remembering that once our hands are on the ground, the hands are the center point that we have to balance over. So the thing that I see most commonly happen is that people are trying to lift up before they've found their balance. So first you have to find your balance and then you can lift your feet up. If you try to lift up too early, you can't get up because you haven't found your center point. So let's try it one more time like this and then we'll add the blocks in. So bringing your feet as close as they'll go, get cozy with yourself. So widen your knees a lot. Let the chest fold forward before you even bring your hands down to the mat. Then lift your heels and your butt a little bit so you can plant your hands about shoulder width distance. From here, as you come onto the balls of your feet, lift up. Then you start to hug your knees in. And then again, play with lifting up. One foot, lifting up the other foot. And then come down when you're ready. And then take a breath, have a smile, don't take yourself too seriously. The block is going to be like a perch. Since we're a crow, we're a bird, and I'm a nerd. Okay, so come step on your little perch, little birdie. This is scarier for some people, and it's super helpful if that crouch was hard for you to get into, because now we've got room to come off the ground a little bit. So just try it out, and of course, stop where your limit is. Widen your knees, fold. So see if you can get your knees close to even your outer shoulders, folding as much as you can. Bring your hands down to the ground and then start to lift your butt and lift your heels a little bit. Climbing your outer knees onto your upper arms, gaze has to shift forward, and then you can just pick up one foot. So this is a great place to be, continuing to practice picking up one foot and really kind of getting more comfortable with shifting forward with your balance. So give it a go, or maybe 10 more, or if you're over it, meet me on your back. This is a great video to bookmark and keep coming back to, because if we want to get good at anything, we have to keep practicing it. Take another full body stretch, send your arms long. Breathe all the way out. Do that again, arms long, legs long. Breathe all the way out. Step your feet to the mat one at a time. Lengthen your arms by your sides, so hands reach toward your feet. We're setting up for bridge pose. Come back to your breath. If you got in your mind, come back to your body. Breathe into your belly, sides of your waist and your back. And then press your feet down, lift your hips, coming into bridge pose. We did a lot of crunching into the front body, so let's open it up. Feel like the tops of your thighs could stretch forward as your heels magnetize toward your shoulders. Press down through the feet, lift the pelvis, don't look around, keep the head steady. Stay for 2 more breaths. And then slowly from the top of your spine to the bottom of the spine, see if you can lower 1 vertebra at a time. Take a breath here. We'll end with a twist, so scoot your hips over to your right. Let your knees drop over to the left. You can widen your arms. You can turn your gaze over your right shoulder. Let your jaw relax. Take 1 more complete breath here. And then bring your head back to center. Bring your feet back to center and scoot your hips all the way over to the left. So cross the center line, hips to the left, knees to the right. You can gaze to your left. And give yourself like a mental pat on the back. The challenging poses, well, they're meant to be challenging. And not so we can be like super fancy with our physical body, but they're meant to be challenging to show us what happens in our own minds when things get hard. Bring your feet back down to the ground, head toward neutral, hips toward neutral. Let's take 1 hand to heart, 1 hand to belly. Widen your feet, let your knees knock together. So we practice not running away when things feel hard. Practice having a sense of humor. Practice deepening our breath. We'll stay here for our resting posture today. Let your next exhale open with an empty or an open mouth. Empty with an open mouth. And if you have longer to rest, I encourage you to stay here at least 5 minutes or so. If you're ready to move on to whatever's happening next, don't rush. Roll over onto your side. Use your top arm to help yourself press back up to seated. Take a posture, take a seat that feels intentional here. Let's come back to 1 hand to heart, 1 hand to belly. Thank yourself for showing up. You can bring your hands into a prayer. I thank you so much for spending your practice with me. You can come to our website, yogatx, Check out lots more videos. I'll see you back here soon. I'm on Instagram at mindfulish. Until next time.